The alarm clock didn't even need to ring. My internal clock, honed by years of early mornings, already knew the hour. It was 3 in the morning, that quiet time when the world is still asleep and only the most dedicated rise. Outside, the world was wrapped in darkness and silence. The seaside town was still, the harbor empty, as if holding its breath before the day began. But in my mind, I was already out on the water, feeling the gentle sway of the boat and the anticipation of the catch. I reached for my worn-out boots, the leather cracked from years of use, and pulled them on. My hands found my old fishing jacket, its pockets filled with memories, old lures, a lucky coin, the scent of salt and sea. The air inside was warm, but as I stepped into the kitchen, I could already sense the coolness waiting outside. I brewed a quick cup of strong black coffee, letting the aroma fill the small space. With mug in hand, I stepped onto the porch, greeted by the crisp, misty air tinged with salt and the promise of a new day. Above me, the stars were scattered across the sky, twinkling over the quiet dock. The world seemed to pause, suspended in that magical moment before dawn. Down at the dock, my boat, the Wanderer, waited patiently, small, reliable, and entirely mine. I climbed aboard and started the engine, its low growl breaking the silence and echoing across the water. Untying the ropes, I pushed off, drifting away from the shore as the lights of the town slowly faded into the distance, replaced by the endless horizon. The sky began to lighten, shifting from deep gray to a fiery orange that crept across the horizon, and the sunrise painted the water in brilliant colors, gold, pink, and red, each wave reflecting nature's power and beauty. It was a sight that never got old, no matter how many mornings I witnessed it. Out there, alone on the water, I felt small in the vastness of the ocean, but also completely at peace. The gentle rocking of the boat, the endless sky, and the promise of the day ahead made me feel alive, exactly where I wanted to be. Every morning brought new hope, new challenges, and endless possibilities. With steady hands, I prepared my fishing rod, checking my gear, and feeling the familiar rush of anticipation. The ocean was calm, the air was fresh, and I was ready to find some salmon, ready for whatever the day would bring. Finding the right spot is part science, part art. Out here, the ocean stretches endlessly, and every ripple or shadow could be a clue. The anticipation builds as you scan the horizon, feeling the cool morning air and the gentle rock of the boat beneath your feet. You watch the birds, check the water, scan the fish finder. Seabirds are your allies, their sharp eyes spotting baitfish long before you can. The fish finder flickers with promise, each blip a potential catch. Every sense is tuned to the rhythm of the sea. Today, the screen was promising. Schools of baitfish below. Where there's bait, there's salmon. The ocean comes alive with possibility, and you can almost feel the energy pulsing beneath the surface. I cut the engine and let the boat drift. With practiced hands, I set up my gear, checking every lure and hook. Each piece of tackle is chosen with care, every knot tied with precision. Preparation is everything. One mistake, waribin, the fish will get away. Trolling lines went out, downriggers dropping them deep. Fishing is a game of patience. The lines hum in the water, and you settle in, eyes fixed on the rods, waiting for that telltale strike. Minutes stretch into hours, but hope never fades. You watch, you wait. Then, the rod slammed down, reel screaming. Adrenaline surges as you grab the rod, heart pounding. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Fish on. The fight began. A powerful Chinook, silver and wild. It thrashed and leapt, muscles rippling in the morning light. Every second is a test of strength and skill. It pulled, dove, leapt. I let it run, then reeled it in. It's a dance, a battle of wills. The salmon fights for its life, and you fight for the catch, both determined not to give in. Arms aching, back sore, I didn't give up. Finally, I netted a magnificent salmon, close to 30 pounds. The sense of accomplishment is overwhelming, a reward for patience and perseverance. Into the cooler it went, success. Over the next hours, I landed 2 more. Each catch brought a fresh surge of excitement, the thrill never fading. The cooler grew heavy. It was shaping up to be one of my best days on the water. Out here, every catch is a story, every moment a memory. The dance of the salmon is one I'll never tire of, and today, I was lucky enough to lead. The morning had been perfect, but around noon, something changed. The wind picked up, the air chilled, the boat rocked more, the waves grew choppy, the sky turned gray, the sun's warmth faded. I checked the weather radio, still calm seas, no warnings, but my gut said otherwise. The birds vanished, flying toward shore. Animals sense things before we do. The waves grew larger, hitting the boat with force. Salt water sprayed over the deck. I started packing up, better safe than sorry. I reeled in my lines, bracing against the pitching boat. The ocean was showing a different side. The horizon blurred, water turning dark and menacing. I finished stowing my gear and pointed the wanderer toward home. I started the engine and pushed forward, cutting through choppy waves. The ride was rough, water spraying over the windshield. I focused on getting home, thinking of the salmon in my cooler. Then, the ocean ahead seemed to pull back, like it was taking a giant breath. The water level dropped, waves flattening into an eerie calm. Instantly, I knew this was bad. A dark line appeared on the horizon, growing taller. It wasn't a cloud or fog. It was a wall of water, a rogue wave. I'd heard stories, never believed them. Until now. There was nowhere to go, no time to outrun it. I gripped the wheel, pointed the bow at the wave. My life depended on the next few seconds. The wave was a monster, a vertical wall, a moving mountain of water. The top curled over, white foam cresting. It sucked the light from the air, the world turning dark. I braced for impact as the boat climbed the wave's face. The angle was terrifying. I was looking straight up. The engine screamed, the boat groaned. For a moment, we were weightless at the crest. I saw the chaotic sea all around, raw power, terrifying beauty. Then we tipped over the other side, plunging down. The boat slammed into the trough. The impact, violent. Everything loose went flying. I was thrown against the wheel. For a moment, I couldn't breathe, but we were still afloat. The roar came first, a deep, guttural rumble from the depths. It vibrated through the hull, through my bones. As the wave hit, the boat groaned and creaked, pushed to its limit. The impact was a deafening explosion, chaos inside the cabin, breaking glass, heavy objects crashing, water sloshing. My ears rang, the world seemed silent in shock. After the wave, the sea was a confused mess. The bilge pump's hum was the most comforting sound in the world. We had survived. My first instinct was to check the boat. I moved quickly, adrenaline still coursing through me, scanning every inch for damage. The storm had passed, but its memory lingered in the air, heavy and electric. The deck was a mess, ropes tangled, water sloshing everywhere, gear scattered in every direction. It looked like chaos had swept through, leaving nothing untouched. I could still hear the echo of the wave in my ears. I checked for leaks. The bilge pump was running, but not constantly. That was a small relief. I ran my hands along the hull, searching for cracks or soft spots, half expecting to find water pouring in. The Wanderer had held together. She was battered, but she was still afloat. In that moment, I felt a surge of gratitude for the old boat's resilience. My body ached, but I was alive. Every muscle screamed, my hands were bruised, and my side throbbed where I'd slammed into the rail. But I was still breathing, still here. Relief washed over me, making my knees weak. I knelt on the slick deck, letting the tension drain from my body. For a moment, I just closed my eyes and listened to the sound of the sea. I sat on the wet deck, breathing heavily, replaying the event in my mind. The fear, the rush, the desperate scramble to stay upright. It all came flooding back in vivid detail. The wall of water, the climb, the drop, it felt unreal, like something out of a nightmare, or a story told by old fishermen in the harbor. But the pain and the mess were real. My hands stung, my clothes were soaked, and the boat was in shambles. There was no denying what had just happened. I felt awe, not happiness. A deep respect for the ocean's power. It was humbling, almost frightening, to realize how small I was out here, how quickly things could change. I was just a visitor, and I had almost overstayed my welcome. The sea had reminded me of its rules, and I was lucky to have survived its lesson. I got to my feet, took the wheel, and pointed toward shore. My hands trembled as I gripped the helm, but I was determined to get home. The journey back was slow and rough. Every swell felt bigger than before. Every gust of wind a reminder of what I'd just endured. Every wave made me flinch. My nerves were raw, and I couldn't help but brace myself each time the boat pitched and rolled. The confidence I'd felt that morning was gone, replaced by humility. I knew now that out here respect was more important than bravado. The ocean had the final say, and I was grateful just to be heading home. Halfway back to harbor, I remembered the fish. My catch, the 3 beautiful salmon. I looked at the cooler. The straps had held, but the lid was gone. I already knew what I'd find. I knelt and looked inside. Empty, except for gray seawater. The wave had taken my prize catch. Disappointment was there, but it was small. I couldn't be angry at the ocean. The sea gives, and the sea takes. I almost laughed, worried about fish, when I'd nearly lost my life. The real prize was survival. The empty cooler was a reminder of what was lost, and what was saved. Pulling into the harbor felt miraculous. The dock's solid ground was a gift. Other fishermen saw my face, my battered boat. They understood. That night I couldn't sleep. The wall of water replayed in my mind. It wasn't just fear. It was awe. I'd faced something immense beyond my control. It stripped away my pride, left me humbled. I learned respect for the ocean isn't just about beauty. It's about understanding its power. You're always a guest in its house. The sea gives and takes, demanding humility and attention. I still fish for salmon, but I'm a different fisherman now. More cautious, more respectful. The ocean took my fish, but gave me something more valuable: humility and my life. For that, I'll always be grateful.